Hello. Hello, I'm going to show you some strategies that our students are using to do multiplication this year. And we're going to start with what's called the break apart method. And this is one where they can use their knowledge of basic facts to kind of support larger numbers, such as 2-digit by 1-digit numbers. And so what we tell them or have them do is they break the number into more manageable parts and then put it together at the end. So for example, instead of 23 times 6, they probably don't know that off the top of their head, but they can break it apart. So instead of doing 23, they're going to break this into 3 parts, 10 plus 10 plus 10, because that equals 23. And then what they do is they take each part and multiply it by 6. So I would do 10 times 6, another 10 times 6, and then 3 times 6. And so for these 3 parts, you get 60, 60, and 18. And then I would put this together to get, looks like 138. Okay. Another method, well, same method really, but as they get better and as we start talking about multiplying with zeros, they might start breaking it apart into less parts. So they might do 20 plus 3, and so then they would do 6 times 20 and 6 times 3, and they get 18 and 120. Put those 2 parts together, 138. We also do this visually with arrays. So they would have this array, and let's make it 6 by 23. Okay, and they can show it visually how they would break it apart. So maybe they would break it again, just like our first problem, 6 times 10, 6 times 10, and then 6 times 3. Okay, and they would show the answer to these 3 parts, 60, 60, and 18, and then put it together. They can also go the opposite direction. So instead of breaking apart 23, they could break apart 6. So if they're we talk about doubling numbers, so they could do 23 times 2. So it really gives them some more flexibility into how they do it. And then they would put this together. Okay. Now a second method that they do besides the break apart, it's a variation of the break apart. It's called partial products. And we start doing this more when we get to a little larger numbers. And once they understand kind of the place value. And the key to this is really focusing on place value. For example, this 3 isn't 3, it's 30. So how this works is they break it into the 2 parts. They would do 8 times 4 and 8 times 30. So we have our 2 parts. And then we would put our 2 parts together. Okay. When we get to larger numbers, again, they would just do 1, 2, 3 different parts. So I would do 5 times 6.
Adam, could you please come to the office?
Sorry about that. 6 times 5 is 30. Then 5 times 4, but it's in the tens place, so it's 40. And that's 20 with the 0, so 200. And the last one, 5 times 2, but it's really in the hundreds place, so it's 5 times 200. That gets me 1,000. Then I would put these 3 parts together. Okay, so that's an example of partial products of taking it into 2 or 3 parts depending on the problem, and then putting it back together. Okay, a third method is I guess a little more visual in a sense, but it's a window or a box method, and it's similar to partial products. What I do is I write my 6 over here, and I put my 32 up above, but it's really 30 plus 2. And so in each box, I kind of put the answer. So 30 times 6 is 180, and 6 times 2 is 12. And I would put those 2 parts together. Okay, and I would get 192.
Come
Now
to
for
the
a
office.
larger number, okay, for a larger number, again, 26 times 32, and it doesn't matter which way you go, but I'm going to put my 20 plus 6 up here, and I'll put my 30 plus 2 down here. And so then again, in the box, I would just connect them. So 30 times 20 is 600. 30 times 6 is 180. 2 times 20 is 40. 6 times 2 is 12. And so I have my 4 parts. And, I always have my students kind of do it, add it together in a couple parts and then, do it a second time. So instead of doing all 4 numbers together, I would just add this bottom part together, which is 52. And then I would add the top part, and then we would put the two parts together, okay, to get my answer. All right, and so that's again another method. And then the final method I'm going to show you is called lattice, and this is one the students find pretty fun. And it really allows you to use your knowledge of basic facts to really multiply any number pretty easily. So students like it because it's a pretty quick way to get especially larger digits put together. As a teacher though, it's not the only method we want to teach them because it doesn't have the place value concepts that's really necessary for multiplication as you would see in some of the other methods. So it's a good check step, but not their only one that we want them using. So last works like this. You make these boxes and you have diagonal lines, and I'll explain why the diagonal lines are there. But I put one number on the top and the other number on the side. And so in the box, I write what 8 times 4 is, and 8 times 4 is 32. So I would put the tens place in the top box and the ones place in the bottom. So I have 3 tens and 2 ones, or 32. And then I just rewrite it diagonally because this is how I would add it. So my answer is 32. So it doesn't work very, I mean, it's not really useful for one digits, but I kind of want to show you the concept. And so when I have a larger number, 8 times 17, I write 8 here, and I write 17 here. And then what I do is I match them up. So this box is 1 times 8, which is just 8. So I have 0 tens and 8 ones. And then this box is 7 times 8, which is 56. Okay. Now here's why the diagonals are important. I add diagonally. So I always have my students kind of do a cover-up method and just go one at a time. So this is 6, this is 8 plus 5, which is 13. So I bring down the 3 and carry over the 1, and then this is 1. So my answer is 136. Okay, I'll do it one more time with a 3-digit number. I put my 1 digit up here, my 3-digit, 263. 8 times 2 is 16. 8 times 6 is 48. Again, tens place, ones place. And then 8 times 3 is 24. And I add diagonally. So this is 4. This is 10. So I carry the or leave the 0, carry the 1. This is 11. So 1, carry the 1 up here. And so 1 plus 1 is 2. So my answer is 2,104. And so you see how if you know your basic facts, it really helps you with larger numbers. So for example, here, if I know my basic facts, I can figure out 54 times 39 pretty easily. Okay? I know 4 times 3 is 12. I know 3 times 5 is 15. I know 5 times 9 is 45. And I know 4 times 9 is 36. And again, I add diagonally. So this is 6. This is 5 plus 3 plus 2, which is 10. So I got to carry it into the next group. 9, 10, 11. And that's 2. So here my answer is 2,106. All right, so gives you some different methods that we use in class. And if you ever have any questions, you can ask the teacher. But I hope this tutorial is helpful. Thanks.